Okay, so I'm just making a quick video about something that I've just realized today, which is that my neighbor, well, her name is Rianne, but I swear the first time she told me her name, she said Rihanna. But on a postcard, like a Christmas card she sent me, it said Rianne. So I was like, okay, her name's Rianne. But then I swear my uncle came over and I wasn't actually sure what her name was at that time, if it was Rianne or Reese. So I just got my uncle to ask her name. And I swear she said Stephanie to him. So I don't know what's going on with her name because I think there's also another EastEnders name or a name from EastEnders, but I couldn't remember what it was. But I swear, I don't know. I feel like every time I ask her her name, she gives me a different name. But um, from my from the postcard, it was Rianne. From what I thought she said to me, it was Rihanna. But anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, she has been wanting for a long time to get like fence around her garden to add more privacy. And I was telling her that I don't mind, getting a fence because I would kind of like a fence because there's 23, the house 23. They use the back garden as like a front entrance, so they're always crossing it, and it's always quite annoying because I'm just sitting on the sofa watching TV, and then you have quite a lot of people. There's a big family, so that I'm always seeing people sort of walk up and down that fence, and there's three houses in front of me, and they often use the back gate as well. So I don't know, it's not very private, and so I was thinking about putting up a fence, and she was going to as well. But I told her that I don't really want the middle bit section done, because I like to sunbathe. I have a big hammock right by the sort of middle line, and if there was a wooden fence there, then I wouldn't be able to sunbathe. And also, I have quite a lot of flowers. I mean, it's not that important, but I have a lot of flowers, and I like to grow flowers and whatever in my garden. And the more fencing there is, it's not a very big garden, so the more fencing there is, the less light these flowers are going to get, and the less well they're going to do. But anyway, she has it's taken about a year. I think she's only been there for a year because before there was this sort of old lady in the garden, and and um, and she did her garden really nicely. It's like she had loads of roses there, and the garden always looked amazing. Like her garden was always prettier than my garden, and it was always a bit annoying because my garden was just full of weeds. When I got my garden, it was just full of weeds, and so I had to get rid of all the weeds. I had to grow the grass, and that took about 2 years for it because I don't think I put in enough seeds at the beginning. But yeah, I eventually got it looking nice, and then I planted everything in my garden except for maybe one or two things I think that I planted myself. And it's taken a while, but it looked really good. And then the old lady next door died, and she had a gardener come in every few weeks to, there was no weeds on her grass or the roses, 70-year-old rose bushes. There was I don't know, about seven or eight of them, like they were everywhere, and it looked really really nice. And this lady came and she started digging up all the roses, and I was just like completely shocked that someone would dig up a 70-year-old rose bush that was doing fine. And she was like, oh no, I don't like it, I'll buy a new one. It's like, do you not know how long it takes to grow rose bushes like that? I mean, my granny's amazing at growing rose bushes. I don't know how she does it, but she's got huge. I bought some sort of cheap rose bushes, and then I've gone back like a year or two later, and it's like, wow, is that what it's turned into? I've never been that successful. I think it's because I'm going a bit cheap, and I don't get the right sort of feed. I think it's all about the feed, and I don't know. I go a little bit cheap on the feed because I kind of believe that it would be fine. But I think that the mud in my garden isn't really. It's very clayey, so it's not really the best for growing. But I've done an okay job. Okay, I haven't done. It's not an amazing job, but it's okay. Anyway, they've done a really good job, so they're probably giving it lots of feed. And we should just come down and chop them all up, and it's just like, what? And where the hammock is, I've tried to encourage her to not chop those roses. Like, please, like I'm sitting, I like sitting here, I like seeing them. Don't do that. And I think some of them have survived. There's a few rose bushes there, but she then got lots and lots of stones and just covered the whole garden in stones, which is fine. Stones are not that bad. But yeah, all the grass is starting to grow through, and bit by bit, the garden is looking worse and worse. And so, at the beginning when she was talking about wanting to divide the two gardens, I was like, no, 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 because I like looking into the grass. But when I realized that she wasn't really maintaining the garden and it was getting worse and worse, I was like, yeah, you know what, if you want to put in a fence, that's fine. I think at one stage I was willing to pay for it as well because it would add more privacy. But then when I got the extension, or when this in the last month, when I got the extension, I think it started in April or May or something. I don't know when I started, but um, I think it was could have been April. I think it was April, like middle end of something like that. I don't know. We had a bit of a problem because of the inspectors and having to wait for. There was like the celebration, the Muslim holiday. They had like a big holiday, and builders had a week off then. Anyway, it was before that what we started, um, and and yeah, and anyway, she's wanted, talking about getting the fence done, and I think now that she's seen all the work that I'm doing, maybe that's encouraged her or something to get these fences done. And well, now that my garden is going to be a lot smaller, before it was like 10 meters long, now it's only going to be 6 meters long, which isn't very big, and therefore I no longer want to pay for a fence because it's going to make it even smaller. And okay, I don't really want to see people coming back and forth at the end, but at the end of the day, I also, that extra meter, when there's no fence, that extra meter, which is the pathway, it would add a bit of extra light to my garden, make it seem just a little bit bigger than it is. And so for that reason, she can do what she wants, and it doesn't bother me at all that she's getting it done. But I'm just saying that there's now a fence, or going to be, that they're starting it here. I don't know if you can see it, but um so yeah, I'm just saying that now there is going to be a fence in between my garden and Rianne's garden. Rianne, who also called herself Stephanie, which is also Gaga's name. So I don't know, but I feel like there's something spiritually symbolic going on there. And yes, I'm glad that I don't have to pay for it, but yeah, I'm also glad that I don't have to look into her garden that much longer, because it's getting worse and worse. And I know a lot of people don't like gardening, and that's fine. But at the same time, I think it's I love gardening, and I like looking at flowers, and my garden's a mess right now, but it's only because of the builders. As soon as the builders have taken all the wood and rubble out, I think they're going to get skipped tomorrow or something. As soon as they've done that, I'll see what grass I can manage to save. I've done my best to try and keep all the stuff off the grass and put it on the pathway so that the grass doesn't get destroyed. But yeah, there will be a lot of grass destroyed, I think, because when they were digging up the holes for the plumbing, it seems to have, they've just plonked it on the grass and keep trying to save the grass. But anyway, at least grass grows back easy. I know the grass seeds are still there, so hopefully by the end, in a month or two, hopefully it will go back, but we'll see. But yeah, it's a bit weird how there's going to be a fence between my garden and that garden. I think things happen for a reason.